And we are live. Dawood, how are you? How are
Good,
things?
good. I'm taking my
Where are
daughter
you now?
and son-in-law to a visit to Palestine, and we're staying in the
Ah,
beautiful
nice.
Paradise Hotel, Paradise Premium, 320 rooms, and we're the only guests.
Oh,
Imagine,
wow.
haram.
Where
I
are you?
mean, so
Where are you exactly?
we're in Bethlehem, just outside a major street, and
Okay.
we did a tour today. Major,
Okay.
the Church of Nativity. Nobody was there. We were the only ones. Usually, there's long lines. So the
Yeah, I
churches
remember.
are renovating the place and fixing it up, but it's really shameful. It's really bad.
What is it because of the Gaza war? Is it the attack on Christians or like
No,
what
it's
is it?
mostly the Gaza war. The many airlines stopped coming to Israel. So airlines are the heart of tourism. You don't have airlines, you can't get tourists. And so the airlines have stopped because of the rockets coming, and everything just went zero. I mean, since Gaza war, then they thought maybe ceasefire will start getting people back, and then Iran war, and now they're hoping September the high season will come again. But already, Iran is not stable anymore. Already, the
Yeah.
Strait of Hormuz are closed.
What about Arab Israelis? Would they like come and visit? Because I know in Jordan kind of depends on that during the
Yep.
time of war. Yeah, but
Yeah,
do
we came
they?
from Sheikh Hussein Bridge, and there were a lot of Palestinian citizens of Israel that were attending some concert or whatever. They love to come to concerts in Jordan of
Yeah,
famous Arab singers. So yeah, no, they're not coming to Bethlehem. Some come to Jerusalem on Friday and Thursday night, but no, very few.
yeah.
Very bad.
It's yeah. I mean, I don't think many people know about it, but like Jordan tourism, like has a lot of its income coming from Arab Israelis, which is I think not many people talk about it, not many know about it, but I think it's like as a journalist, I see a big story here, and
Yeah,
how like like Jordan tourism might be rescued by
I t-
yeah, by Arab Israelis, but
I talked to a hotel owner in Amman, and he said 80% of my hotel is full of Palestinian citizens of Israel. They all come for concerts, for just vacation without racism and so on. So they
yeah.
love to be in Jordan, yes. And it's cheaper. It's much cheaper than Israel. The value of goods and products and services are much more inexpensive.
And they usually cross the bridge, though they don't fly, right?
They no, there's no flights. They come from Nazareth. They go through the Jordanian northern border point. It's the only border point between Israel, two points between Israel and Jordan directly. There's no Palestinian. It's not like Allenby or the King Hussein Bridge, which is Israeli and Palestinians and Jordanians. It's a very mixed up situation. By the way, the King Hussein Bridge, there's more delays because there's a strike on the Israeli side. So 2 hour delays yesterday, and the suffering continues.
Oh wow! So how are you? I celebrated my 50th
Mabruk.
birthday. So
5 decades.
5 decades. I know, I can't believe it. 5 decades, and we're still hearing the same news since I was 7 year old until now. Nothing has been resolved, which is kind of depressing. But what can we do? But anyway, while I was busy celebrating, I uh, kept my eyes on the news, and as usual, there's a lot going on. I think the biggest one here, at least, was the sudden death of Lindsey Graham, and Trump did a big talk about him and his service to the country. But I mean, it's sad that he died. We should not.
He wasn't nice to the Palestinians.
I know,
He
but
wanted he wanted to get rid of Gaza, but yeah, I mean he's dead now.
he's dead. Yeah, there's
We should not push too much.
we
But
should not too much,
yeah.
but and he just died right after coming from Ukraine, is my understanding. He met Zelensky, so it was like unexpected, and then this leaves a big vacancy, and in the Senate. And also, how would that change if it would change the foreign policy, because he's been like very well known for not siding with any of the Palestinian rights. And do you think his replacement would be someone who would follow in his footstep, or because of what's going on now and how Palestine is becoming a local issue, he will be replaced by someone with different views?
Well, I have a nomination.
Okay, tell me.
Stephen Colbert. He's without a job. He's from South Carolina. He's very popular. He has name recognition. He could easily win his seat.
Did he ever mention his ambition for going to politics?
They were thinking of him to run for president even. So I'm sure Senate, it would be a very good step for him. But he's without a job. He lost his job. And he's from South Carolina. I don't know. I've read some people say that, but I don't know.
Oh, wow.
That would be a big...
That would be fascinating. It would be a big, yeah, because we'll see. I mean, if the old guard are changing, replaced by the younger generation who's more pro-Palestinian, I think that might be a trend to watch. And we're already watching that trend, but it's like in 10 or 15 years, let's see how the Senate would look. But that's, anyways. Also,
you have another one in Maine now. Who was it? Graham.
Graham Plattner. He withdrew from the Maine Senate race after a sexual assault allegation, and he's a Democrat. So now the Democrats are scrambling before the July 27th deadline. I think that's you have to declare in order to run in the midterm election. So also the Democrats now have they're also scrambling to fill his role. But also we were chatting before this, and you mentioned this story that I probably missed because I was busy celebrating. But there is the Democrat from California, Representative Ro Khanna, and he was detained in West Bank. What do you know about what happened, and who is he exactly?
Well, he's a progressive Democrat who has ambition to be president, or at least to be a nominee for the Democratic Party. And he came to the West Bank, took a private, people, took the New York Times reporter with him, and he went to the South Hebron area where the settlers are going crazy, and they're always trying to take land against people's wishes. And they're very violent in there, the settlers. And so all of a sudden, settlers came out with their M16 guns, American-made guns, and they held them. So they called the army, they called the U.S. Embassy. The army came 90 minutes later, and the first thing they did is they sided with the settlers, and then they had to call the American Embassy. The American Embassy intervened, and like an hour and a half later, 2 hours, they were released. So yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing that happens all the time, but it doesn't happen to a U.S. congressman who's running for president. So who has a big, microphone, and apparently he went on Meet the Press, and he also spoke about what happened. And he said, I read on Twitter that he's going to go all over America, whether he's a nominee or not, to talk about what happened. And he said, if I'm a congressman with all this protection, this happens to me, imagine what happens to Palestinians.
Do you think they knew he was a congressman? Or they saw, because he's of Indian descent, and he dark-skinned.
He identified himself, and they don't care, They don't care, the settlers. They don't care because they know Netanyahu, Smotrich, Ben-Gvir have their back. They will not do anything about them. And we're in election season. So imagine that Netanyahu is going to punish these people when he needs every single vote to stay in power, to stay out of prison. No, nothing's going to happen. Even if he calls for, what I liked about his interview is that he actually identified the leader of the settlers. He said he should be questioned and investigated and so on. Nothing's going to happen. Plus, take my word, nothing is going to happen.
But
because there's elections.
Yeah, but do you think the settlers watched the 60 Minutes interview and because of that they went after him, or just kind
No,
of,
but the American people
yeah,
who provide the money for the guns that they're using and the protection that they're getting in the army,
yeah,
support that they're getting. That's the problem. It's not these settlers, you know. I mean, Netanyahu said, "Oh, there's 150 vigilantes and they're just boys." Come on, you know.
but
Boys with guns are scary.
yeah, but do you think the U.S. I guess the U.S. administration did not say anything?
I have not seen. I have not seen. I saw someplace that the U.S. ambassador took on somehow the Israeli side and said he should have coordinated more with the army. He should have told them where he's going. Come on, why does he have to coordinate with anybody? He's an American. He's visiting the West Bank. He wants to see what American money is going, where American money is doing. No, I don't think he has to tell the Israelis where he's going every day. It's you know, these are occupied territories, and this is money from the U.S. taxpayers, which he has to sign off for them to get the money.
Yeah, because Netanyahu's response was these are vigilante group, and has nothing to do with this and da, 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 but yeah,
With protection from the army, with protection from the minister of police, without any accountability. Yes, they're vigilantes, but vigilantes have to be stopped and not allowed to run
to
amok.
do that. Yeah, and while I was prepping for this show, I just got breaking news from the New York Times that about Trump and Iran. It says President Trump said that the U.S. was renewing its blockade on Iranian shipping after the two sides exchanged fresh attacks. So it looks like there's no end in sight, honestly.
Twice there was sirens in Jordan. They
Today?
attacked not today, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Before I came, yeah.
Yeah, I
And,
saw that. Yeah.
People are worried, you know, they want closure to this stupid war, unprovoked, unnecessary war. They want closure, and Trump needs to get going, accept whatever compromise. He cannot gain more in negotiations what he couldn't gain in the war. You know, it's a simple idea, and unfortunately, nothing is happening on that front. And the war, I don't think the war will come back in a big way, but the absence of a peace, it's very bad for the economy, it's very bad for tourism, it's very bad for everyone. So people need closure so that, we can get back to normal things. And now I read somewhere that he wants to charge 20% for every ship that goes across. I mean, he's putting a toll booth because the Iranians demand that they need 1% or 1 million per tanker. And he said, that's too much. And he said, look, it's a service charge because they have to fix the area. There's, a lot of problems in the straits, but they refuse to accept that. And so now Trump wants to charge 20% for every tanker that crosses.
Yeah, it's endless. And as I said, that's probably gonna be what's gonna take the Republican Party down in the election. I think that was a very black smear on the Republican legacy during this election, and I don't see them, honestly, I don't see them winning. I think they're gonna face a major loss in the midterm election, which gonna determine the presidential election. And I think one of the you can say the Palestine is one thing, but Iran, I personally think is kind of the nail in the coffin. But that's, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but that's my prediction.
But Natasha, Syria is doing well.
Is it? Okay.
The president of France visited Syria, and he made all kinds of agreements. There was a few bombs coming out, but it didn't bother him. And Trump said he's going to remove Syria from state-sponsored countries. So they're all bracing for improving the economy of Syria. So there's good news for the Syrians. But of course, they're not going to go to Lebanon. He wants them to go and dismantle Hezbollah. It will never happen. It's just.
But the Syria example is kind of shocked the world, and I think it's unprecedented, where we had someone who used to fight with ISIS, and sort of many people expected that he's gonna fail, but he kind of defined the odds. I mean, if you follow the story of Sharia, it's an unusual story, especially when it comes to the history of the Middle East politics. And what is the reason behind his success so far, while everyone expected that, you know, his president's, his rule or his reign is not going to last long, and it's going to be marred by civil war? Like, what can we learn from this?
Well, we learned that somebody's terrorists and somebody else is freedom fighters. They chose resistance to Assad over Assad, and that's what they got. Everybody was against. The Israelis were against the PLO. They got Hamas. The Arabs were against Mubarak. They got the Muslim Brotherhood. You have to. It's not enough to be against somebody. You have to be for something. And the countries of the region are not for anybody. They're just against, this or that. And we have to go back to the people. When people seem to be fine with the new leadership. And to be honest with you, he's been smart. He's actually said everything correctly. I don't think he's done everything correctly, but he said the right things. And he seems to be trying to have a diverse country, and he's trying to respect all points of view. Certainly in the media, he's respecting the media, and he's giving the media. I might go to Damascus, by the way, 24th of June. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's nice. But didn't he just ban alcohol in Syria, and people demonstrated? And
he banned it in non-Christian areas, which is very bad, because it's going to make the Christians look like they're the bad people who drink, and everybody's going to go and buy alcohol from there, although it happens. But that was not a smart way of doing it, but whatever. I mean, there is, there are problems with the conservative Islamists on women's issues, on children's rights, and certainly on issues like alcohol and respecting ideas that secular people like. But he's doing many good things also. He is giving space to the opposition groups and so on. So maybe we'll see. I mean, I know everything about him before. I know what everybody's saying, but now ISIS is against him. ISIS apparently are the ones who tried to bomb Macron when he was in Damascus. So they're not happy that he's, making friends with Americans and the French and others. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, somebody really needs to either write a book about him or a documentary, because I think his rise to power is a case study for everyone who's studying the Middle East. It's just, I mean, from what I've
who's
seen.
another case study? The late ruler of Qatar.
Yeah. He's just passed away, right? Like,
yes, he's passed away at 74, but he has very interesting credentials. He had a bloodless coup against his father in 1995. He established Al Jazeera in 1996. He won the World Cup for Qatar, a tiny country, in 2022. He's that great. And Qatar, per capita, are the richest country in the world, or next to richest country in the world.
How did he die? 74 is pretty young.
74, yeah, I don't know. I think he was sick. He was sick for a while. I don't think there's anything sudden or unexpected. But in Jordan, they, officially there's a 4-day mourning experience in everyone. And the father is sending condolences from all sides, right, left, and center.
So he launched Al Jazeera in 1996. How pivotal was this moment in Arab journalism, the launch of Al Jazeera?
Well, you know how Al Jazeera was created. I don't know if you know the story, but OSN is a Saudi-owned pay TV company. It was based in Italy. And they had contracted with the BBC Arabic, and they got the best BBC Arabic reporters to begin a news program. And then the BBC had, they were still the BBC. they had a program called The Death of a Princess, which is a kind of a scandal about Saudi Arabia. And the Saudi said, don't broadcast it. And they say, journalistically, it's a news story, we have to broadcast it. And they broadcast that story, and Saudis pulled their money, and all these guys were without a job from the BBC. At the same time, the father had just made a coup, and he was looking to do something big. So he hired all these guys, and they created Al Jazeera with high professional former BBC reporters, and they basically ran it in the way they would run BBC. I mean, there was not much news about Qatar, so they covered all other countries. And they did, and they still do on their news, the best job of any TV station in the world. Whenever there is an event, let's say in South Lebanon, they have reporters in Jerusalem, they have reporters in north of Israel, they have reporters in south of Lebanon, they have reporters in Beirut. They cover the story live better than anyone else in the world. And regardless of their talk shows, their political line, they support Muslim Brotherhood or not, I don't care. As a journalist, I like life stories. Whenever you're live with a camera in a location, you are the best reporter because you're there filming, seeing. It's not, I mean, it's all live. It's not packaged. It's not filtered. It's all internet. It's all news done by professional journalists who are doing it with their cameras live, South Lebanon, North Israel, Syria, Lebanon, all at the same time. Nobody has the news trucks to do what they can do. And that's what I think makes Al Jazeera. 60 million people watching it. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. And I just also read that Jordan declared 4 days of mourning for him. Is that true? Or
4 days of mourning in Jordan. The Jordanians and Qataris are good friends. Qatar is a wealthy country, so they want to make sure they're on the right side. Thousands or tens of thousands of Jordanians and Palestinians work in Qatar, so of course they send home remittances. That's really good for the economy of Jordan. Plus, Qatar is involved in a number of investment projects in Jordan. So, regardless, I think Jordan and the Qataris are good friends.
But is his death gonna affect anything with Al Jazeera or
No.
business?
He abdicted. In other words, he's not the ruler. His son is ruling.
Son took over. Yeah.
So he voluntarily gave up his position to his son, which is apparently something that many monarchs in the Arab world are considering. I would not mention whom.
Yeah. Huh. So another thing that I want to talk about, which is the World Cup, and there's been a lot of talk about the Egyptian coach and what happened between Egypt and Argentina, right? Like, we are used to conspiracy theories in the Arab world, and everyone say, the referee was bought, and do you actually believe that because the coach raised the Palestinian flag during the Argentine Egypt match?
He raised it after the Egyptian victory over, I forget who, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was the game before.
That was a game before.
I think the more logical reason, and it's again, it could be called conspiracy. The referee had, I think, 13 fouls against Egypt, 11 fouls against Argentina, 6 or 7 yellow cards against Egypt, not a single yellow card against Argentina. The goal that was called back didn't make sense. A lot of people have said that. Mohamed Salah was possibly knocked down in a penalty. They didn't even choose the VAR. They could have looked at the VAR and said, no, it was not a real penalty. They didn't even do that. So there are material reasons, and I believe the referee has been barred from doing any more World Cup games. So even FIFA seems to have understood that. But you're right. I mean, people think always losers when people lose. People blame the refs. But this one, I watched the game, and people in my house who are following the game also felt at the moment. that this was not correct. And a lot of neutral observers have made that same statement. But whether it was connected to Palestine, I'm not sure of that. But I think it is more possible that they want Argentina in the finals, because Messi is very popular, and Egypt is not that popular. I don't know.
So why would FIFA not like reconsider the game if they already barred the referee and admitted that the referee did a bad job? I mean, you know how the Arab have this.
This has never happened. Once the game is over, whatever happened, they can punish the referee, but they will never reconsider the game. The game is over. It's khalas. You have to worry about the next time they go on. But the Egyptians played well. I liked the way they played. I think they fell apart once their 2-0 lead, scrambled. They just lost kind of control, and they choked. They really they just stopped playing, and they should never lost. At least should have tied. But that was shameful.
But this kind of reminded me. I'm too old. I'm that old to remember Argentina's game in the 80s and the hand of God, when Maradona actually scored, but his hand touched the ball and it got into the goal. And people realized that after the game, like in the 80s, the technology was not that developed to know it instantly. And FIFA recognized it. And Maradona said, "Oh yeah, that was the hand of God," and Argentina still won, even though he touched the ball with his hand, and there was no reconsideration. They did not take the
never
trophy.
Do it.
They never do it.
Natasha, they never do it. They will never do it. If they do it once, they will never be out. No, a referee is given the right to make a decision, and he's given the right to make a bad decision. Now, even if he's proven to have been paid and proven to whatever, they will not recant. That's it. But I think the Egyptians and Arabs did well. Morocco did really good. Algeria did well. Even those countries like Jordan, which didn't pass the first, they did well. I wrote a story about the Baptist Church in Texas that made a big event for the Jordanians, and the pastor said, "Every year I go to Rome. Next year I'm going to go to Jordan," which is good, So I think it will be good for Jordanian tourism. Hopefully, if the war in Iran is over.
Wow. So we have a few minutes left. I'd like to say hi to our viewers here. We have Michael Hatcher. First time we see you here. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for joining us. I hope you consider subscribing to our newsletter. We also have Rebecca Ruth Gold. Thank you again for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and you consider subscribing. We have the show free. We also have a paid tier, and through the paid tier, you get 1 hour of our time. We can answer any questions you have, and also you get a Rolodex. A Rolodex, probably, especially if you're a journalist or an analyst or an expert who wants contacts in the Middle East, journalists, media, NGOs. That's one of the perks you get for being a paid subscriber. So I hope you can consider that to support the show, and so that Dawood and I keep chatting online about what we see. And we're actually, Dawood and I are thinking next week of bringing a guest speaker. We had our first guest speaker a few weeks ago. We had Rami Khouri, who's a very well-known analyst in the Middle East, and we're planning to have another one next week. We're throwing names. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to send them our way. But we're also hoping to have a guest speaker to talk about all things Middle East and US and the suburbs. Again, thank you for joining us. Dawood, any parting words for today?
Nothing special. I'm going to go to Jerusalem tomorrow. I'll be in the Old City. I'll try to see more of what is happening to the Christian community there. I'm starting a new project. I don't want to give too much, but it has to do with the city I'm in now, Bethlehem. So keep an eye. We'll be letting you know what's happening. But Christians in the Middle East are top on my priority list. and I want to do a good job in trying to transmit, talk, and inform people about their situation.
And you've been doing that for what, like 15 years or more?
That's true, but it's almost been in Arabic with new stories to other people's publications. I
Yeah,
would like to one day have my own publication
yeah,
that does that
yeah,
in English. So
yeah, yeah.
we'll
This is
see.
great. This is great, and we're all happy to support you, Dawood.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. You'll watch the replay for those who did not manage to join us live. I know it's the Monday, people are busy, but thank you, Michael and Rebecca. And please consider subscribing and email us anytime. And until we meet again, we'll see you next week, Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And until we meet again, thank you, everyone.
Bye. Bye bye.
Bye.